Sloane Stephens. And from Romania, Simona Halep.
Hello and welcome to semi-finals day at the Western and Southern Open in Cincinnati. Simona Halep is once again just 2 wins away from reaching the top of the WTA tree and becoming the world #1. The Romanian is also just 2 wins away from winning her first Cincinnati title. But today she is up against the last American standing and a player who has had an extraordinary comeback since foot surgery just 8 months ago, Sloane Stephens. Pete Hodges in the commentary box, and once again I'm joined by Jill Cravis. Halep won their previous 3 encounters, all straight sets, but in the form Stephens is in right now, how big an opportunity is this for her to end that run?
Well, I think that's the key. I think she's looking at it as an opportunity because she has had great wins. She beat Kvitova here this week, as well as being Kvitova and Kerber last week. So she's definitely coming out here and not going to be intimidated that she's playing Halep, even though she's the #2 player in the world and she's lost her a few times. But she's going to be looking out here just playing her game, and I think she's going to view it as a really great opportunity and to look to get into her first final.
It
has been an extraordinary couple of weeks. As semi-finalist last week in Toronto for Stephens. And of course, reaching the last 4 here. It looked like she'd ran out of steam a bit in Canada when she lost to Wozniacki, so we'll be hoping today that doesn't happen. And she has plenty left in the tank.
The condition is the same as the previous matches, just a couple of reminders. Because of TV, if you can remain seated until I say time, that would be great. We will not start play until I have said time. And for challenges, make that clear for me, please. Any questions? No? All good? All right. Eric, please. And it's silver. Simona, receive. This side? Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So Halep winning the toss and electing to receive first. And really, I was going to say Stephens, who's been serving well the last 2 weeks, but really there's been so much to look at her game and be impressed with in the last 2 weeks for the American. Can she become just the 2nd American through to the final of this WTA Premier 5 event, following Serena Williams and since 2004 when Lindsay Davenport won the tournament? Has the opportunity to do that, but of course Simona Halep is chasing down that world #1 spot, and Karolina Pliskova of course was beaten, the current world #1, just a few hours ago to Garbina Muguruza, who made it through to just her 2nd Premier 5 final and first here in Cincinnati. Well, Sloane Stephens, who was given a wild card into this tournament due to foot surgery, which she had in January, thought she could play in Australia, and she stopped playing around the Rogers Cup last year, so almost missed 12 months altogether, missed about 11 months in total, and was hoping the off-season she would be better. Then had the foot surgery in January, and yet has raced back, lost in the first round of Wimbledon and then the first round of Washington. But since then, she's been playing top 10 tennis. What's the secret for that? Do you think the break has actually done her some good?
I think it has done her some good. I mean, I think we always knew that she had the capability and the talent of being a top 10 player, but her results were very up and down. I mean, she would have weeks where she played really well and went through the tournament like a top 10 player, and then all of a sudden the next few weeks, you know, have some losses that she would consider not great losses. But so her results were so up and down, and I think that had a lot to do with her mentality a little bit. I think she just lost focus, lost concentration sometimes, and I feel like when you have that break from tennis, especially with an injury, you do have a much higher appreciation when you come back from the sport, because you've missed it, you missed the competition, you missed working hard, and I think it's kind of changed her mentality now that she's come back to the sport.
Yeah, the strange thing is she's never done all that well at the big tournaments other than the Grand Slams. Of course, semi-finalist of the Australian Open in 2013, quarter-finalist at Wimbledon, but then has come straight back into 2 Premier 5 events, and reached 2 semi-finals, and the chance here to reach her first ever final at a Tier 1 level tournament. And talking of Tier 1 level tournaments, player in your picture is someone who knows all about winning those. 6 titles to her name, as well as 4 times a runner-up in the highest bracket of tournaments below the Grand Slams, and has had another extremely consistent year. Of course, second on the Porsche race to Singapore, and also second in the world rankings. Winner in Madrid, which of course is a premier mandatory event, and runner-up at the French Open. Still looking for that illustrious Grand Slam title. And do you think that's just around the corner, or are there other issues for Halep? And that loss at the French Open, did that signify perhaps some slight psychological issues?
I mean, it could. I mean, that was a tough loss for her in that final French Open, being up a set in 3-love, and then seeing that Grand Slam title in your head almost at that finish line, but just couldn't convert. But, I mean, I think that's got to be a tough loss, and I think that would be tough to recover from a little bit. I mean, I think she's played pretty well since then. I would say these last couple weeks, she played some great tennis, but at really crucial and pressure moments, I felt like she got a little tentative. And I think to win a Grand Slam, you got to clean that part up a little bit, because I think what some of the top players do the best is when their pressure moments, they actually lift their level and get better. And you've seen that with Serena or Pliskova
or an Ostapenko in that final.
Ostapenko, exactly, where they come up with the goods when the pressure gets even more. And I mean, I haven't seen her play every single week, but I'm basing it on the last couple of weeks, because it was after that loss at the French Open.
1 minute.
And since then, like, closing out matches, she's been able to do it because she fights for everything. But I just feel like she does have that little hesitation.
Yeah, and it's something that she's been talking about and working on with Darren Cahill as much as possible. It seems that their relationship a lot of the time is based around the psychology of trying to think positive most of the time, because of course her game is rock solid, and that is well underlined by her performances. As you say, since the French Open, she was quarter-finalist at Eastbourne, last day at Wimbledon, last day at the Washington, semi-finalist last week in Toronto, where it didn't really go to plan, and here she is in another semi-final. Will that loss to Svitolina in the semi-final of a Premier 5 event be in the back of her mind, or is that now forgotten because we're at another tournament?
I think that situation, I think she probably forgot about it, because I thought Svitolina played really well, and I don't necessarily feel like Halep played very well in that match, but I think it was throughout.
Well, she said it herself. She said she had no idea what happened.
Yeah, I think it was throughout the entire match that she didn't feel good. It's not like she put herself in a winning position and then started playing poorly. I just felt like she just didn't feel things that day, and it was just one of those days, and that's going to happen, and you know that's going to happen as a pro tennis player, and so you just kind of let it go, because you know sometimes you're just not going to feel good. Still
a baking hot day here in Cincinnati, 31 degrees Celsius. The evening will be settling in soon. It's 4:30, or just gone 4:30 in the afternoon, so we'll be getting cooler from here on in. Saw the record there. Halep has won their last 3 encounters. Stevens has beaten the Romanian twice before, though. Once at the Australian Open, 6-1, 6-1. So at least has that in the back of her mind.
First set.
All of their meetings have been straight sets in the past. So this first set could be absolutely crucial. And this is the semi-finals of the Western and Southern Open in Cincinnati. It is the American Sloane Stevens against the second seed and world number 2, Simona Halep. And it's Stevens to get this one underway. Incidentally, Pete Hodges and Jill Krabis, your commentators.
Love 15.
I think what was so impressive about, another thing that was so impressive about Stevens' run in Toronto was the fact that the courts there were pretty slow, yet she was still able to hit through opponents.
Yeah, that was very impressive, because we watched a lot of matches, and it wasn't until I actually watched Sloane play that I felt like, I mean, you could see the difference in her ball when it came off, and she was hitting through opponents and not necessarily going for the line, sometimes the middle of the court, and it was still too fast.
So here, hot day Ball will fly through the air quickly. Quicker courts.
15-13.
Has to suit Stevens a little more than Halep.
Yeah, I would think a little bit. But, I mean, Cincinnati's... To me, I felt like the ball flew through the air, but then when it bounced, I felt like it kind of sat up a little bit. Yeah.
But of course,
13.
fatigue could come into it. I mean, I think wouldn't be too surprised if Stevens collapsed in a heap in this match, because she's had so much time away from the sport and then 2 long runs at 2 big tournaments. But so far, so good.
I know. Well, it'll be interesting to see the first, like, 3 or 4 games of this match. I think just to see how she looks physically. I mean, so far she looks pretty good. Points haven't been too long yet, but fitness doesn't seem to be a factor. As you mentioned, she's played all those matches this last couple of weeks and had to play 2 yesterday.
And as we saw Pliskova earlier on, it was a pretty tired and flat performance by the world number 1. I just wondered whether those 2 matches yesterday ended up hurting her today. No signs of that so far, though, for Stevens, who takes the first game. And I'm imagining, you know, if I say tactically, it's fairly obvious what they're probably going to be looking to do to one another here, because Stevens we expect to be the one to shorten the rallies, get on the front foot very early. But from Halep's point of view, as we've said, she's had a tendency of late to get too defensive. So tactically for her, how important is it for her to step up?
I think it is. But I think overall her court position needs to be a little bit further in. Not just looking to step up, but just during the rallies. I think just during the rally, she's got to stay more on the baseline. That's not really her game. She likes to kind of run from side to side. But it's not going to be able to pressure Stevens if she keeps that court position too far back.
Nicely done. Of course, you may be wondering why there's a few empty seats around here, particularly with an American on centre court. But just to inform you, there was a men's match on this court with an American involved just a few moments ago, and that was quite a long match, just finished. So I'd imagine a lot of the fans just getting a bite to eat or a drink before pouring back into the stadium. Did it ever feel strange to you when you played in your homeland, and were you expecting crowds and then there wasn't as many? Yeah,
I mean, it's always a strange feeling when it's so quiet inside a stadium. I mean, I don't think it affected how I played, but I always just thought it was to see such a big stadium and not have that many people, and it is kind of a strange feeling. Well, great running there from both players. Nice depth on the ground strokes.
14.
And I'm sure we'll see a lot of those people coming back on the stadium. Just needed a little bit of a break.
Yeah, as I say, I'm certain of that. Particularly in this heat, you can understand taking a break, getting some more fluid.
Great forehand there from Stevens. She gets such good topspin on that forehand side. It's actually really heavy and jumps off the court.
Of course, Halep only had the one match yesterday, but it was the late match, so not as much time to recover. Finally got over the line against Johanna Konta. I think it was on her 6th match point. We talked about the importance of Halep stepping up the court and doing so in fine style there to take her first service game.
Yeah, that was a great move. Good recognition again, coming in to take that swing volley. Stevens still making her hit another shot. She's so quick around the court.
And even though it's quicker conditions here, it's still so tough to hit through Halep. Would you say she's the best mover?
One of the best for sure.
I didn't ask that question. I'm not going to let you off with that answer.
Gosh, that's too tough.
First double for Stevens. Great defense from Halep.
And she's so good on that backhand side when she's on the defense to still produce a really good shot, an offensive shot. Now she's got a break point, double break point here.
That's a little wild. And it is Halep who breaks first. And opens up a 2-1 lead.
2 games. Time.
Up an early break then, Halep. Has defeated Stevens 3 times in a row. Once this year. Of course, that's the strange thing for Stevens, because she hasn't actually played that many matches this year, having lost in the first round of Wimbledon and Washington, yet seems to be playing all the same players, like a stuck record.
I know. It's amazing. Sometimes it happens, though. Sometimes you play so many players all the time and you don't play other ones at all.
Fantastic point. And that's more like it from the American.
Well, that's what Stevens has been doing so well these last couple weeks, is using the deep part of the court down the middle, but with a higher, heavier ball, and then waiting for the right opportunity to kind of step up, take it off the court. Good job there coming into the net, taking that volley above the net.
Just a few early errors from Stevens. That's a fourth unforced error already in this encounter. Again, sensational defense from Halep. You could see Stevens thinking, I've got her on the stretch, it's time to move up. The slice backhand landing right in the corner.
I mean, it didn't even look like Halep did anything. She just stuck her racket out and just happened to get a really good depth on that last backhand slice. Pushing Stevens back definitely took Stevens by surprise.
Has huge support wherever she goes. Simona Halep, mega star in Romania. And they travel well.
Great play there from Halep. Really worked the point, and then when she got the opportunity to go a little bit harder to Stevens' backhand side, that's worked a couple times now where Stevens has felt like she's been forced to try and hit down the line. And she's missed that twice now. That could be it's a good play for Halep.
Yeah, I was just thinking that was a perfect Simona Halep point when she's playing well and feeling confident. Just maneuvering her opponent from side to side. There is Kamal Murray. Stevens is coached, done a terrific job with her. Of course, started with her at the beginning of 2016, guided her to 3 titles, including her first Premier title in Charleston last year. Of course, then injury struck. And she was looking better last year, getting back to her best. And of course, with injury, she's almost been better than I've ever seen her before in the last couple of weeks. Pouncing on the second serve.
That's what she's got to do, take advantage of that second serve when she's in the position to move into the court. Moves around that one really well.
Able to save the first break point. Still 2 more to negotiate, though, for the American. Brutal hitting. And what a start this has been from the world number 2. Well aware that the door is open to becoming the world number 1. And Halep is looking good here in this semi-final.
So, you're doing slow down in between the points, right? She's short of playing fast in between the points. Just slow down and then hit an extra ball. You know, she's moving the ball. She's moving the ball fine, trust me. That ball quality will come down, okay? You got to stay there. Right now, you're going for things that aren't there yet.
My legs aren't there and I'm trying to hit it.
Right, so just work harder with the feet. I mean, you're a better athlete than she is. She wants to make this athletic match, you're going to win, okay? Just be willing to work and hit one more extra ball. Trust me, you know it's going to. Right? So you know it is, okay? So you just have to stay there and make a ball. Right now, it looks like you're not willing to work and hit an extra ball. Just make a ball, okay? And a little more margin. Like, everything's so great. I mean, a couple of those balls are just out. Bring the margin in just a little bit. Okay?
Kind of getting to the middle.
More margin, work for the points. Don't overplay. You're overcooking a lot of shots. Okay?
Time.
Just keep working.
Yeah.
Let's go. Relax.
A very interesting conversation between Sloane Stephens and her coach Kamau Murray. The key point was that she said, my legs aren't there, which you can sort of tell.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, especially, I think Halep hit some great returns, but that's normally a ball we see her running for all the time. And she admitted, I think that was good recognition, her saying, my feet aren't there, my legs aren't there. And Kamau Murray was suggesting, to be willing to work the point a little bit more. It's easy to say, because if you feel like your legs aren't there and if you feel like you're a little bit tired, then the last thing you want to do is play really long points, especially against someone like Halep. But he said, wait for a better opportunity. Be willing to work. Don't try and go for a big shot when you don't feel like you're in position.
This is a mean-looking Simona Halep, and I think it must have been disheartening for Stephens as well, because there's been a couple of incredible gets from Halep, which I think also then makes you force even more, because you're thinking that's a winner, and then it comes back and it's on the baseline.
And it comes back at a really good pace. I'm
guessing that just makes your legs feel even heavier.
Yeah. And I mean, he also complimented Halep, saying, she's playing really well, moving really well. So just saying, he wanted to tell her, you're still in it, but you got to be able to stay out there for a long time.
Yeah, that's tidy tennis. I have to say, it's understandable that her legs are heavy, the amount of tennis she's played. Been absent from the sport for so long.
And he also mentioned, make sure you're taking that time between the points, because if you are tired, take the full 20 seconds, because Halep is one that likes to play fast.
Yeah, I thought it was very good advice. And again, every time he's come on court, Kamau Murray, he's always been very clear, very decisive. I mean, there was one time last week where he came on and actually numbered his points, didn't he? He said 1, 2, 3. I only kept it to 3 as well. But Stephens is looking a little weary. And a lot of that is down to the fact that Halep is just giving her nothing.
Yeah, I mean, even that last defensive shot landed right on the baseline. So great feel there when she's on the defense.
And now it's the Romanian who's a game away, taking this opening set. Wow. I mean, that is just insane tennis from Simona Halep.
That is incredible. That was just too good. I mean, Sloane hit a great shot, and Halep again on the full run. That is her favorite shot, that backhand down line. She just sees it so well. Halep just motioning there that she felt like she should have hit that one down the line. That's a great ball there by Sloane. She hits that high, heavy one so well. You could see it just jump over Halep's shoulders.
Well, made it look easy there. And she does. We've discussed easy power throughout the week. Something that Stevens certainly possesses. And it's a better game from Stevens. Will be encouraged by the crowd on centre court. Keeps herself in this opening set. Halep leading though 5-2.
USCA, find yourself in the game. Visit USCA.com to learn more and to find tennis near you. If you plan to be here for final Sunday, be sure to stop by the Fourth Washington Champions Company. Your 2017 Western Southern Open men's and women's singles champions will appear on the balcony on the west side of center court, immediately following your matches. It's an incredible photo opportunity, so mark your calendars and stop by the Fourth Washington Champions balcony tomorrow.
Time.
Plenty of Romanian fans here in Cincinnati. At the moment, they will have been enjoying this opening set. 25 minutes on the clock. Halep serving for it with new balls, 5-2. Little look towards the line judge. See him nodding his head. Pretty happy with his call. No challenge from the Romanian.
Well, good mix-up there from Halep again, using that same plan, going that short forehand cross court to try and open up that backhand side of Stevens.
Again.
Well, the feet again. Yeah, the legs not getting. You can see she's motion, legs not getting quite up into the court.
Yeah, he took the exactly what I was going to say out of my mouth.
Beat you to it.
Yeah. Yeah, was certainly stretching for it, wasn't she?
Halep is challenging a ball on the right.
Halep deciding to challenge. She didn't have a lot of success with challenges yesterday. There's a couple that were near a metre out and ended up challenging and got it very wrong. I think this one's pretty long. There you go. I think probably sees it towards the end of the set, way of maybe just slowing her down. She does like to race, Halep. Actually wonder whether Cahill's introduced that, encouraging her to just challenge just so she takes the time a bit more.
He does try and make her slow down a little bit.
Because she just rushes all the time. And she's pretty much rushed through this opening set. Set point for the Romanian. Well, she's edging ever closer, isn't she, to the world #1 spot, Simona Halep. And she's a set away from the Cincinnati final. Takes the opening set in just 28 minutes, 6 games to 2.
Simona Halep.
Game game in first set, Halep. By 6 games to 2. Does that make it 6 now, or are we still missing? Does that make it 6 balls, or is still missing a ball? Can you check how many balls we have? Balls to the other side, please. Thank you. Time. Second set, Stevens. Love 50.
Second double fault for Stevens. What's she got to do here, Jill? Because she does look tired. And I know what Kamal Murray said in terms of just bringing in the margins, but you kind of feel both back. It's Halep winning most of the points.
Yeah.
She almost hasn't got the energy. Does she start going for broke?
Yeah. I mean, I still think you can still go for broke and bring in the margins. That's the thing, because right now I just feel like even those couple backhands, she can hit her backhand harder than that, and she's kind of just, she is trying to go for that high, heavy ball because it is very effective. But I think I'm used to seeing her hit that ball with a lot more pace on it.
Oh, what a rally. And just as we were saying, she needed to go for broke.
Yeah.
Stevens showing us she can out-rally and out-hit Halep.
That was a great ball striking from both players, and that's the ball that Sloane is waiting for. She wants to set up with that forehand, and that time she really went off out of the middle of the court, went for a little bit more. That was still a better point from Sloane.
And if you are tired, Jill, I know you never were, because that was just you. But how much is the crowd an inspiration in terms of to lift you if your legs are feeling heavy? Do they come into it, or do they not make much of an effect there?
No, it does. I mean, if they're behind you.
Yes, yes.
If they're rooting for you, yes, it would make a difference. Well, Sloane doing a better job of constructing points here, waiting for the right opportunity. She was moving better out wide to that forehand and did get a lot more pace on that to get in an offensive position. Now she's got game point.
Well, how about that? Lovely little mix-up from Stevens. Maybe that is the key to victory in terms of playing a little more expansive tennis. Takes the first game of the second set.
And just looking at the first set stats, even 6 games to 2, a little more winners. Sorry, a little more winners from Halep, but still we're used to seeing Sloane hit a lot more winners than that because she's much more aggressive usually. But second serves won. You see Stevens only 14% and Halep 100%, and that's a huge indication of Halep being in control of pretty much most of the points and pretty much that whole first set.
Certainly is striking the ball with real confidence. Halep moving so well too. Everything just looks so together right now.
And I feel like she's doing a good job of shortening the court from Sloane, because Sloane's usually very good at getting that angle off the court, but it's because Halep's more closer to the baseline, it doesn't allow Stevens to see that angle. It doesn't look as open.
Called wide. I think it's going to be challenged. Again, though, I like the point from Halep. Again, full of positivity. And you have to say, it was an important game, this one, because it was probably the best game we've seen from Stevens in the previous one, and momentum can change pretty quickly. Halep trying to ensure that it doesn't, but she has just missed.
Goal stand. 30-15. Miss Halep has 2 challenges. 40-15. Game,
Second serve ace to close the game out.
1 game.
And this has been very impressive. We perhaps wondered about the added pressure on Halep's shoulders with Pliskova losing earlier on today.
Right.
And world number 1 just getting a little closer.
Well, I think Darren Cahill's really helped her with that. Like, the last few times he's been on the court, he's really tried to get her focus in the right place. What an incredible angle there from Halep. But he's done a good job of every time he's come out, like, reminding her focus on the positive. Don't keep thinking about the negative. And so I feel like before this match, you know, he's trying to make her not think about that so much, just keep focused on the match.
Because this match at the moment is a combination of Stevens being a little tired, but Halep also, for me, playing the best tennis that we've seen in perhaps both of these 2 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah. But it's nice to see Halep actually, throughout this week, like, get that in the right place, because I feel like the first few matches she did get a little bit tentative at times and she wasn't playing her best tennis. So it's nice to see that she worked her way up to that point where she got mentally focused, she got a little bit more confident.
And it maybe demonstrates what a player she is and how consistent she is. She's yet to drop a set, and she's now a set away from a place in the final of a Premier 5 tournament. And yet we've been critical of how she's been playing.
15-14.
Well, I mean, I don't think she was super happy with the way she was playing, either in the first couple rounds especially. I think, you know, and she has very high standards for herself too.
He's very much a perfectionist. Third double fault for Stevens, and it gives 2 break points to Halep. For once, not making that backhand.
30-14.
That's an excellent kick serve.
Yeah, kick serve into the body.
She's caught in 2 minds which side to take that, Halep.
Yeah.
Decided too late in the end. And the crowd really trying to get behind Stevens just to keep her in this match.
Correction was good. Advantage Halep. Miss Stevens' challenge on the left baseline.
It looked like it skidded off the line, so definitely worth a challenge.
It's a very quick overall from Julie Kennedy. It's a very good overall.
Advantage Halep.
It's the 3rd break point then for the Romanian.
Stevens has 2 challenges.
Superb tennis again, on the run, but no problem for Simona Halep. Counter-punching brilliantly, and breaks first in the second set.
2 games.
So the ball's not moving enough. So now that you're making more balls, let's sort of move it. Now, if there's nothing, if the line is not open, don't just go there just to go there, right? Just go back middle, go back cross. Okay, you're missing the balls at the line because your feet aren't there. If your feet aren't there, then don't go there. Just go back middle and work for another ball. But the games are deep, and every game is 30 all induced now. So it won't want to be her ball quality has dropped like you thought it would. So now it's time to step up, okay? Now that the ball quality has dropped, the balls are going a little bit shorter. You got to step up in the court now. Does that make sense? You're good. I want you to slow the pace of the match down. She wants to play fast. You like to play slow. Just breathe and take your time. Okay? You move the ball. Step up in the court and get opportunity. The line is not there. Go back middle, go back cross. Just breathe. Okay? Doing much better. Those games are much closer. The points are much closer. You can do it.
Time.
Let's go fight. Every point, fight for it.
Got to say, everything I do hear from Kamau Murray, I'm impressed with. Once again, just talking to Sloane Stephens there, just saying, if your feet aren't there, don't go for it with the line ball. And just feeling that she's just going for that line ball at a point when she doesn't need to go for it because she's tired, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's also saying, right, you're getting to 30 all now, you're getting in these games, and her ball quality, because she gets tight, is dropping.
Yeah.
And so need to step up the court and make sure you
Right.
take advantage when it goes short from Halep.
And Halep's balls were getting a little bit shorter. I mean, the last couple points, I felt like on the defense, Halep did get that really good depth. But overall, he's talking about in this second set, in these first few games, her rally ball has gotten a little bit shorter, and Stephens has still continued to sort of step back and not taking advantage of that.
And we have seen that throughout Simona Halep's matches. Yesterday with Konta, prime example, in a winning position.
Right.
Got a little tight,
Yeah.
and the ball's got a little short and consistent rather than aggressive. But that's just a super winner.
Even the look from Sloane's face after that, she was like, I don't know what to do on that, but that was just too good.
And the other thing Kamau Murray said was, take your time. As in, Halep likes to play quick, you like to play slow.
Yeah.
So get this match on your terms, pace-wise. But he was also very positive in terms of saying, you know, you're in this, you've got this, you can do it.
But not only slow the pace down, or take time in between points, but breathe as well. Really try and get your breath back. Breathing is such an important tool out there, especially when you're tired.
I mean, he said all the right things, but it's difficult when you're the player and your legs have gone. And you're against Simona Halep.
Another good point.
Double fault, just allowing Stephens back into this game. I almost felt that was a better point from Stephens. She resisted going up the line, but just didn't do enough when she did step up the court.
3 games.
Yeah, I thought it was much better. She was much more consistent, stayed crossed. But I still feel like in her previous matches she's hit a lot harder. I feel like she's kind of she's going for the higher, heavier ball, but she's doing it in a way where she's not accelerating like we usually see her accelerate.
I felt particularly on almost the last ball, the ball before last that she struck, where she did step up the court. Just rolled it. Oh, there we go.
Well, I still felt like she could have done a little bit more with that forehand right there, but hit an unbelievable backhand down line. I didn't even think she was in position for that one. But
came out of nowhere.
She used her hands well on that one.
There's been a lot of those types of points in this match. Second serve from Stevens, then Halep firing the deep return, and Stevens just not quite getting there, which is another sign of the feet not being quite as sharp. And on 1 point out of 10 behind the second serve, Stevens. There's going to be a challenge here from Stevens. I think this is more because the call came late. Also the fact that Halep mishit it may have made her think it skidded off the line here. But it was long.
15-30. Miss Stevens has one challenge.
Well, she was trying to go middle there. At least she wasn't trying to pull the trigger line, but still reaching just a little bit. Again, showing a little bit of fatigue there, not quite getting the feet in position. You can see she just pulled off it at the last second.
2 more break points for the world number 2. Only needs the one. Stunning return as Halep breaks again and is edging ever closer to the Cincinnati final.
Time.
Another beautiful day in Cincinnati. Just a couple of clouds in the sky. It's been a hot one. And there's been some pretty hot tennis from Simona Halep in this encounter. Up a double break now in this second set, serving 4-1. That was a very negative point from Halep, who just started rolling the ball in. Stevens unable to take advantage.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity there for Stevens. 17th unforced error compared to Halep's 9. You can just see the anguish on Stevens' face, just unable to get any sort of rhythm. I thought she was doing a little bit better job trying to rally a little bit more, but Halep's still winning those longer points, so that's going to be tough for Stevens.
Yeah, can do no wrong right now. It's been such an accomplished performance from Simona Halep.
14.
It isn't always easy when you're up against someone who isn't quite bringing their best tennis, but she's gone about the business today in the right manner.
Game, Halep.
Of course, was a finalist here, Simona Halep, in 2015. Lost out to Serena Williams on that occasion. Will get a second bite of the cherry if she can win one of the next 4 games.
Well, again, Simona Halep doing a very good job of attacking that serve. Very aggressive on both of those forehands.
Love 13.
Oh, just leaning one way, the ball going the other. And it's yet another winner for Simona Halep.
Love 14.
And it brings up 3 match points. Not just yet.
Well, there's that backhand off the court, and she did a better job of getting up to that ball, Sloane Stevens, with the feet.
Simona Halep is 1 win away from becoming the world #1. Reaches the Cincinnati final for the 2nd time in her career. Defeats Sloane Stevens for the 4th time in a row. And she reaches yet another final in 2017. Supreme performance from the world #2. Defeats the American in just 54 minutes. 6-2, 6-1.
Yeah, an unbelievable performance there from Simona Halep, and I love that she gave a little bit of a clap on her racket when Sloane Stevens was leaving the court, and the audience was really applauding Sloane for her performance this week. She had a really tough day today, but that had a lot to do with the way Halep came out from the beginning. Really aggressive from the beginning and never backed away.
As you can see, getting ready to talk to Andrew Krasny right now, and the smile tells you everything you need to know. Yeah, and you have to give applause to Sloane Stevens. It's been another terrific tournament for her to reach the semis yet again, but maybe just 1 match too far, which is completely understandable with the amount of tennis that she hasn't played in the last year.
You're back into the finals here in Cincinnati. How great does that feel?
Well, for sure, it's a great feeling that I can play again final. this match was really good. I feel that I played maybe my best tennis, so I'm really enjoying the moment here, and like I said yesterday, I feel great on this court, so tomorrow I hope to give again my best.
Taking on Garbiñe Muguruza, you've beaten her once on clay. She's gotten you twice on hard courts. What do you have to do to play her and to play her well enough to win?
Why you had to remember me that she beat me 2 times on hard court? Maybe tomorrow is my turn. You never know. So I have just to come here to give my best, to try to fight, and if I can win it, I will be really happy to have a title here.
How special would that be? You've been into the finals before. Does that make you that much more hungry?
Yeah, I can say I feel hungry of titles this year, so it's going to be a big challenge tomorrow, a great opportunity for me, but for sure it's going to be a very tough match. She's a Grand Slam champion, so I have just to come here and to give everything I have.
Simona, congratulations. Through to the finals at the Western and Southern Open. What a Sunday.
Yeah, searching for her first Premier 5 tournament win of the year. Of course, was runner-up at the Italian Open in Rome. Won the Premier Mandatory in Madrid. And the last Premier 5 final she reached was the Canadian Open last year. But of course, there's more on the line tomorrow if she can win, because she will become the world #1. This is how she defeated Stevens.
Well, I think the stat that stands out to me the most is the second serves percentage one. Stevens only winning 17% of her second serve, and Halep 91%. So you can see who the aggressor was. I mean, Halep really getting aggressive from the beginning, taking advantage of Stevens' serve, and Stevens just backing off. Obviously, that was the footwork there. She was a little bit fatigued, so just wasn't able to get in a good position.
Yeah, and you do have to say, I mean, it's been a magnificent effort from the American. Played 2 matches yesterday, and maybe it's no coincidence that both Pliskova and Stevens, who played 2 matches yesterday, both looked a little tired today and suffered because of it. But what a final we have for you tomorrow. Join us if you can for it. Garbiñe Muguruza against Simona Halep. Halep, if she wins it, will become the 24th world #1 in the modern era. Should be absolutely fascinating. Of course, Halep still well up there on the Porsche race to Singapore in 2nd place, as is Muguruza in 3rd. It should be a fabulous final. Join us for it if you can.
Sloane Stevens. Simona Halep.
Game in first set, Halep.